Let's take a look at Tuesday in the NBA. There are 8 games on, surprise injuries popping up, good stream opportunities. It's all happening here. And Michael Bolton, what do you think?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and my money don't jiggle, it folds. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Win your first $5 bet and get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Also, check out LockedOnDaily.com for your newsletter for your favorite team. Double bang this episode, thumb it up, and comment, and all the old YouTube stock standards. All right, 8 games. Let's get into them. What is on my radar in these games? What are we watching for? Where are we streaming? Who's in, who's out? What's the upcoming schedules? All of that stuff is the way that we approach this this part of the show. So let's approach it. Let's talk about the first game. It is the Charlotte Hornets. It is the Orlando Magic. The Magic are 6.5-point favorites here, which is a lot, but that's okay. That's where we're at. Schedule-wise, Hornets have got this big break after Tuesday. They played Tuesday and then nothing on Friday. Sorry, nothing on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then a weekend back-to-back. Whereas the Magic go Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and they don't play on the weekend, like the opposite sort of stuff here. In terms of who's out, we know that Mikal Bridges is out, Mark Williams is out, BDNR is out, that's Nick Richards, Daquan Jeffries is out, and Trae Mann popped up as questionable. In the last game, Trae Mann played like 15 minutes, and he was questionable before that game with a back issue, so I'm guessing the back is causing a problem. I don't think that he's a must-hold player. We've seen the ups and downs and the ceilings and the floors. There is something there, but it's not like necessarily a must. For the Magic, Paolo Banchero is out, and at the time when I started this show, Wendell Carter Jr. we didn't have an updated injury report, but he is out now, so I guess that he's going to miss most of this week, but who knows? Like, I just don't know. They're not giving us any updated information on that, apart from that Wendell won't play on Tuesday. So I do want to watch Trae Mann for the Hornets. Obviously, he's got that questionable tag, but what are they going to play him? If it's 22, it's not enough. If it's 26, it is. And is the back going to keep him out again? I don't know. I just want to sort of see where he fits into this discussion. Well, for the Magic, Goga Bitadze, putting up really strong numbers at the moment. I think he'll continue to do that. I think he'll continue to play high 20s in minutes while Wendell is out, and let's just keep churning that over. In terms of stream options, Grant Williams is available in a lot of spots, and I do think with all the players out, yeah, he can give you nothing, absolutely. But the odds and the minutes and the opportunity are all pushing into Grant's favor, and that makes him a worthwhile stream target, while for the Magic, yes, we go with Goga first. But I think Mo Wagner's got this high-scoring, high-efficiency upside play off the bench. And that makes him somewhat interesting here. Miami goes to Detroit for the second game of the day. No spread at this point for this game. Schedule-wise, Miami is Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, and then into 2 games the week after in week 5, while Detroit is Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday into 4 games. Jimmy Butler is out, again with the ankle. Asar Thompson remains out, but his return is coming. Bobby Klintman is out, and Jalen Duren is questionable. I don't think there's been an update on Duren. I'm just going to double check. No, there is an official update. He is now officially questionable, Jalen Duren, the passport legend. For Miami, what on earth is happening with Bam Adebayo? Why cannot this man not shoot or finish anymore? Why are we getting such poor field goal percentage nights? His free throws are also relatively rough. What's going on with his game? He's not a drop, very obviously, but we need to see if this is a real thing. Is this a weird temporary blip? Almost definitely. But what's going on? On the Pistons side of things, I'd also want to watch Cade Cunningham because he's putting up nice counting stats. But overall, you're feeling I don't know if underwhelmed is the right term, but he's putting up numbers which are good enough without getting super excited. And I know that sounds relatively vague, but that's sort of how I'm feeling about what Cade's doing. He's fine. The numbers are fine. The numbers, if you look at a straight 9-cat, it's going to make him look like, oh my God, he's terrible again. But the way that I like to view these things, and he's 19th. It's pretty good. 23, 7, and 8? And still plenty of room for steals to improve. And the shooting to improve. He's hitting just 35 from 3. That could go up. And even his free throws are like 10 percentage points down. But I don't know, just something feels off. In terms of stream guys, it's probably Jaime Jaquez, but he barely played last game. They went with Kevin Love and Hayward Highsmith. So was that like just a return from stomach illness thing? Or is that what they're going to do now? I don't know. I think it's still Jaquez. And on the Detroit side, it is Tim Hardaway. It's him or Leaky Beasley. Who knows who it's going to be game by game, but Hardaway would be the direction that I would lean. Just lean the starter, lean the majority of minutes most of the time. The third game of the day, we're talking Atlanta and Boston. And this one sort of came out of nowhere, injury was. I will get to that in a sec, actually. Boston 13.5 point favorites. 3 games for each of these teams this week. Atlanta is Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. And then 3 games on week 5. And Boston is Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Saturday. So Trae Young's out. Okay. Achilles tendonitis. He missed a couple of games with that last season. I don't really know what happened here. I don't have a good read on if this is a long-term thing or anything along those lines. But we know that their backup point guard is Kobe Bufkin. We know that the guy that would handle other backup point guard roles is Vic Krejci. We know that the other guy that would handle ball handling off the bench is Bogdan Bogdanovic. And they're all out as well. Dyson Daniels was drafted as a point guard, but he hasn't really played any point guard whatsoever in Atlanta. So I don't know what they do. Do they slide Daniels across to start a point guard? Or does Keaton Wallace, the man that's invisible on ESPN, does he start? I'm not sure. DeAndre Hunter also remains out. I thought he'd return. He's on paternity leave. They said that he's ready to come back, but guess not. He's out again. On the Boston side, it is Porzingis that's out, and then they added both Al Horford and Jason Tatum as questionable. Tatum hurt his ankle last game. He's questionable there, while Horford allegedly has a toe sprain. He's going to sit one of these games Tuesday, Wednesday, Horford. I don't know which one it is. I would have thought that he plays in this one, but it's against a Hawks team with no Trae Young, so maybe he doesn't. So just keep an eye on that with Al Horford and Jaden Springer's questionable. What are we watching for on the Hawks? Well, Zach Ricochet, if Trae Young is out, like who is taking shots? It's obviously Jalen Johnson. But who else? It's got to be this guy. Like, there's nobody else. So this could result in a game where he takes 17 shots and hits 4 of them and really kills your percentages. But there's going to be a real bulk opportunity here for Ricochet. On the Boston side, we're watching Drew Holiday because he showed better signs last game. The defensive stats still aren't there, and I want to see those turn around, but some signs of life. In terms of streams, again, if you are on ESPN, you are completely out of luck because Keaton Wallace is not a player you can add. Now, that's fair. I want to cut a dedicated sports site with dedicated fantasy people and dedicated tech staff, one of the biggest sports companies in the world. I want to cut them a little bit of slack. Keaton Wallace has only been on the Hawks roster since August. So, we've got to give him a little bit of time to ramp things up and get him added to the player pool. Same with Johnny Juzang. It's only been 3 years for him. So look, there's got to be a level of understanding and patience with ESPN getting these players. It is the same shit every year with these clowns. I don't know who is making this decision, who is running the tech side of ESPN. I've got no idea. But what are you doing? Every year I will call you out and I will call you out. And you know that I do because I tag you in it on Twitter, ESPN Fantasy. And you still don't do it. Do not play fantasy on ESPN. They don't care. So now there is a great opportunity here for people to stream in Keaton Wallace and get a great game out of him. The Jazz have an amazing schedule this week with the 3 quality games, and Johnny Juzang's playing 22 minutes a night. You can't use him. What an insane platform. Anyway, for all of you people who play on real fantasy platforms, Keaton Wallace is going to be the stream. He's a defensive guy. He's Kaysen's brother. But again, somebody has to take shots. Somebody has to distribute the ball. I think Nemesh Keita is a good stream for Boston, especially if Horford is out. He's getting 20 minutes a night over Cornet and Tillman. That doesn't necessarily guarantee that happens again here, but I do really like him as a stream option during this game. Oh yeah, love a good old Keaton Wallace rant. Today's episode is brought to you by Mint Mobile. With big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between when you leave the store and when then you get your first month's bill, the price that you thought you were going to be paying, it magically skyrockets. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about those sort of gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says it's $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. So say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. And all plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan or bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. That is mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower, above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Okay, let us swing it through now to the next game of the day. After that third one, let's go to the fourth game. We're talking about the Philadelphia 76ers hosting the New York Knickerbockers. This is it. It is, finally. You invested that first-round pick in Joel Embiid. You hope it's been worth it because he's back. We're ready to go. The Sixers are 1-point favourites in this one. The Knicks have 4 games this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and then into 3 the week after. The Sixers only 3 games, and they've got a back-to-back here, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. So we're not going to see Embiid on Friday. Achua remains out. Mitchell Robinson remains out. Cameron Payne is out as well. Had him doubtful, but he's out. Tyrese Maxey is out. But interestingly, both Joel Embiid and Paul George are available to play. Now, they said before the season that Joel Embiid and Paul George wouldn't be playing back-to-backs. So the assumption is here that they're both playing Tuesday and both sitting down on Wednesday. You can make the argument that they're struggling. Well, no, not you can make the argument. That's a plain fact. They're bad at the moment. Right? You say, well, that means they have to play Paul George in the back-to-back. I would be very surprised if 3 games back from his knee injury with a stated plan that George is not going to do this through the season to preserve him and keep the health there, that they would do it for the first back-to-back that he's put into. I would be very shocked if George does it. We will find out, though. Especially considering yesterday, in overtime, they sat him down because he'd reached his minutes limit. So they're very, strict on what's happening. So they're both in here. Embiid and George probably both sit on Wednesday. What are we watching for here? Mikal Bridges is in a real struggle zone at the moment. The shots aren't there. They're not going in. There's not much else supplementing it. It could easily swing back. We saw it at the beginning of the year. But it is a definite turn more towards Anunoby versus Bridges. And then for the Sixers, I want to see what happens with Jared McCain because his usage and his scoring has been really good the last 2 games. But if Embiid is back, Embiid is back, so what happens to McCain? Does he still play 28 minutes as a backup guard? Does he get any shots at all anymore? That's something to watch before we consider him more of a longer ad. In terms of stream guys, Juice McBride actually did just appear on the injury report as well, which happened not long ago. He's always going to be an option to stream in for the Knicks. And then for the Sixers, Kyle Lowry is the guy that I do like there as a stream option. Not for scoring, obviously, but for the other stuff that he does bring. The 5th game is the Toronto Raptors and the Milwaukee Bucks. This one is in Milwaukee, and the Bucks are 8.5-point favorites. Both teams have 3 games, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday for Toronto, and then into 3 the week after, whereas Milwaukee is Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, into 4 the week after. Scott Barnes is out, Bruce Brown is out, Kelly Olynyk is out, Jacoby Walter is out. Garrett Temple is actually officially doubtful. Gary Trent is questionable, and both Giannis and Andre Jackson are probable. So what am I watching for? Rowan Barrett and Toronto, the numbers have been okay, but there's a little bit of a worry on the efficiency stuff with Barrett. Last season, he sort of changed his game around and just was a really strong finisher at the rim with a lot of rim shots. Now, it is a little bit different because Barnes isn't here at the moment, but so far this season, it hasn't been the same. His rim finishing is down. It's back closer to the number that was with the Knicks. But importantly, his percentage of shots in the mid-range has increased. Now, some of that might be because Barnes isn't there. But I don't know that that's a full reversion to old school terrible Barrett. And he's decided, yeah, I'm him again. Let me just cook from the mid-range. Instead of what worked, where it's like, get to the rim and finish. We'll see. That is important to watch. I also want to see Brook Lopez, who's doing nothing apart from getting 2 or 3 blocks a game. 6 points, 2 rebounds. Is that it for him in any of those areas? He's just a shot blocker now. In terms of streams, amazingly, it is Chris Boucher. With these players out, he's playing 21, 22 minutes a night. He's producing at a high level. John Mobo has been pushed further back in the rotation. It's not really leading to wins, but that's what they're doing. And then on the Bucks side, you could go with Andre Jackson if you want, but he hasn't really done a huge amount. I think Taurean Prince is probably more likely, but man, it's a tough pill to swallow, but that's where we're at. The next game we're looking at is Phoenix and Utah. I don't know if there's a spread. No, there's no spread out for this game at the moment. Both teams play 4 games this week. Phoenix has the Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, whereas Utah has Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Very big difference between the two. Phoenix also only has 2 games in week 5, whereas Utah goes into 3 in week 5. In terms of who's out, Kevin Durant is out. And then Yusuf Nurkic left the last game early. I've put him questionable. I think it probably shades towards doubtful. And Bradley Beal hurt his leg at the end of the last game. He's not officially on an injury report at this point, I don't think. But I'm just still going to label him questionable at this stage just to see exactly what they're going to do with that. Keontae George also upgraded to questionable by the Jazz, so I would guess that he plays, and we'll see what happens then with Isaiah Collier. I want to see what happens with Royce O'Neal. I was encouraged, despite him shooting like 20% last game, that the minutes were there, everything else was fine, and the volume was up, which is really important, and I think he's a 12-team league option for now. And on the Jazz, I do want to watch Keontae George. How much does he play? Can we get more than one game where the shots go in at above 30%? That would be great. I am still holding him, and I know that some of you aren't. I still am, though. High usage, starting 30-minute night point guards usually will figure something out, but the sample size of him being just an absolutely Killian Hayes type shooter, it's building. It is building. In terms of stream guys, if it's not Royce O'Neal, it's Grayson Allen, and then it would be Ryan Dunn. Much like O'Neal, Allen's shots didn't go in last game, but the volume was there, and that's important. And then on the Jazz, Jordan Clarkson's available everywhere. I know what's going on. Not that I think he needs to be rostered, but their schedule's unbelievably good. Jordan Clarkson's going to get minutes. So JORDANCLARKSON, add him. That's a great ad for this week. Like a pretty straightforward ad, I would have thought as well. The next game is the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Portland Trash Blazers. Oh, God. The Wolves are 8.5-point favorites here. The schedule, Minnesota goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and they've also got a 2-game week 5, whereas Portland is Tuesday, Wednesday, and then a big gap until Sunday. They got 3 games the week after, and the only injury on the report for both teams is Matisse Thybulle, who's out. I want to see Mike Conley, who I don't think is a hold in 12-team leagues. He's an assist specialist. His shooting will improve, but he's a 24-minute-a-night, low-volume point guard. I don't love that. That's not a priority add or hold to me. DeAndre Ayton also, last 2 games, 20 minutes. Now, a lot of factors there. Blowouts, the big one. But or is it that they're using Klingon and Williams and they're going to run a 3-man rotation? Like, that's insane. But it is Chauncey Billups. So if we get like a game that stays close and they run a 3-man center rotation in the first half, then we really do panic on Ayton. Otherwise, let's see where it goes. Jaden McDaniels, the perennial streamer, is right there, and Rob Williams, the third, is probably the Blazers guy to stream in, assuming that Tamani Kamara and Shaden Sharp have been rostered in your league, which they may or may not have. I don't know. The last game we're looking at is the Dallas Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are 3-point favorites here at home. The Mavericks go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, same as the Jazz, and then into 3 games the week after, whereas the Warriors only 2 games this week, Tuesday and Friday, into 4 the week after. Dante Exum is out. PJ Washington I had as questionable, but he has now been updated to doubtful, while Derek Lively is questionable. Kyrie Irving has been absolutely dominating at the moment. I just want to sort of dig in and see how that looks, how sustainable it is, and more watching the interplay with him and Luka and usage-wise and assist rates and stuff like that. And then for the Warriors, it's D'Anthony Melton. Now, I'm still trying to, just by the way, just got an update, Malik Monk out for at least 2 weeks. I initially had him for 1 week. But yeah, 2 weeks. Okay. Yep, that's not good. That means that Herter and Keon Ellis are just guys to must have. On D'Anthony Melton, like I was looking at Melton and talking about, okay, well, not really about the 2-week schedule here, or the 2-game week here for the Warriors, but talking about the way that Steve Kerr's like, this is our lineup for the rest of the season. Okay, don't trust him. He lies all the time. And what happened not lies, he changes his mind all the time. And what happened in the last game was that it was just wild, where we had 5 combined center minutes and Podziemski played 15. And that's just not a realistic rotation. Even though Melton was great, how does that stick as a regular long-term grouping? It doesn't. But D'Anthony Melton is 12% rostered. 12. No one's added him. I am shocked. And again, I laid out all of the different, maybe not, different reasons why this may not work. That's an insane number. And even on our Basketball Monster Advanced metric number for Melton, it's 35. No one's grabbed him. He's available. Grab him. Let's figure out what goes on. I don't trust it at all, and I'd be very careful about who I drop, but come on. That's a ridiculously low number. That needs to change. In terms of streaming for the Mavericks, Najee Marshall with the absence of PJ Washington, and then, of course, it is DeAnthony Melton. And I don't want to sound like I'm a DeAnthony Melton meat writer, because I think I've been fairly balanced in my discussions of him, but those numbers just don't really add up to me at all. I don't understand what I'm missing there. What am I missing? Anyone? Is it people just panicking about a 2-game week? I don't know. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything that you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So in the middle of the game, when you get a hunch, you can check out all of the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you would place those bets. So go to FanDuel FanDuel.com actually, to join today and get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay, that is the 8 games. Let's take a look at some schedule plays that we can make across the next, or the back-to-backs and the chunky stuff we're going to look at. The back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday is an 11-game day. Tuesday is an 8-game day. So you may have the open spot. You might not. But all of these guys have got the back-to-back, and they're available in a lot of spots. So Neemias Queta is going to have, I think, at least one big game, with Al Horford likely sitting, and maybe 20 minutes in the other one. So I like Neemias Queta, the Pastel Donata, as a nice stream option there for the back-to-back. Tamani Kamara, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Caleb Martin, Kelly Oubre, and Mo Wagner. Now, Martin and Oubre may do very little on Tuesday because George and Embiid are playing, but they're both probably going to be out, along with Maxey on Wednesday, leaving that team with nobody. So Oubre might take 25 shots. 7 might go in, but who the hell else is doing it? Him and Jared McCain, I'm guessing. So there's some value in those players across this Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back combo. If we look at the next 5-day chunk, Tuesday through Saturday, I am going to ignore Friday because there are 12 games on Friday, and that's a harder stream day. But these players, most of these guys have 3 games, not including Friday. Neemias Queta. I've got Jose Alvarado in there. He's only got 2 of the lower volume days, but I think he's good enough to be used through that chunk anyway. Taurean Prince and Andre Jackson Jr. have 3 games. Much like Jose Alvarado, BJ Boston's only got 2 games, but his value, I think, is good enough to be considered a chunk add. And then the other one for Boston is Luke Cornett. So obviously we're looking at Boston and Milwaukee with the nice little 3-game chunk there in that period of the week. Let's now take a look at the streaming options for the day. The best stream guys, I think, on, what day is it? On Tuesday. Let's take a look at the stream of the day. The 10-team cat stream of the day has to be DeAnthony Melton. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the rotation is going to be. I don't know how badly Steve Kerr is lying to everybody, but whatever. You do that. He's the guy. 12-teamer is Kyle Lowry. 14-teamer, I go to Haywood Highsmith with Jimmy Butler out. He's played 30 minutes, 3 games in a row and had 5 steals. He could do nothing, but the environment is there for him to have a solid performance. And then 16-teamers, I'll go with starter Andre Jackson Jr. It's really hard, again, to nail down Yahoo Points League roster percentage numbers. So I've dropped it down to under 45% rostered is who qualifies in my Points League stuff, and that's Goga Badadze on both Yahoo and ESPN points. He sits there at like 32% rostered as someone that we can take a look at. Let's drill through the rest of these names. For a 10-team category league, we go with DeAnthony Melton, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Tamani Kamara, Kyle Lowry, Haywood Highsmith, and Grayson Allen. For 12 teams, any of those 10-teamers you can use as well. And then we go through to Caleb Martin, Neemias Queta, Grant Williams, Mo Wagner, Andre Jackson, and the artist formerly known as Taurean Prince. For deeper leagues, Garrison Matthews would be interesting. He can get some shots up in Atlanta with Trae Young out. There's John Isaac, which he's been terrible this season. Maybe there's something there. Keaton Wallace in Atlanta, obviously. Shout out to ESPN. Ryan Dunn, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and lastly, Mr. Black. Now, let's take a look at Yahoo points streaming. Again, these are all 45% or below rostered. I'm not even including Peyton Pritchard, who's 44% rostered, but he's 100% rostered on our advanced metric. How he still sits at 44 is maybe there's only 40% active leagues. I don't know. Maybe there's 50. Not sure. Anyway, Goga, Zach Ricochet, Kelly Oubre Jr., DeAnthony Melton, Caleb Martin, and Toumani Camara on Yahoo are good streamers. On ESPN, it's a similar list. Goga Badadze, D'Anthony Melton, Kelly Oubre Jr., Caleb Martin, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Toumani Camara. And that's the show. That's the preview show. We'll be back to recap all of Monday's action as all games tip off at the same time for whatever insane reason they decided it would be good to do that. Hit the thumb on this video. Hit the... hopefully I'll come back for this afternoon show when we hit 80,000 subs. I doubt it, but you never know. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.